The rain over Hanyang fell like needles of ice, but it was the jeers of his colleagues that truly pierced Ji-hoon's soul. He clutched his threadbare robes, his satchel empty, feeling a hollowness where his life's work used to be. The scrolls he had spent a decade defending were gone. Today, the Royal Academy had officially stripped him of his title, casting him out with contempt. They called him a merchant of ghosts, a deluded fool chasing myths while they studied the practical laws of the land. "Go back to your shadows, Ji-hoon," one had taunted, his voice dripping with scorn. "Perhaps the spirits will give you the rice your science cannot." Their laughter echoed in the drenched streets, a cruel chorus to his silent despair, driven by a mixture of shame and a strange, pulling sensation in his chest. Ji-hoon wandered far beyond the city gates, his feet carrying him without conscious thought. He found himself at the foot of Mount Buchan, standing before the crumbling ruins of the Gwanseong Temple, a place locals whispered was cursed, a place no sane person would dare to enter. Deep within the temple's rotting belly, past decaying prayer halls and silent Muscover statues, Ji-hoon found a trapdoor, sealed with lead and salt. Most would have turned back, seeing the clear warning of ancient rites, but a man with nothing left to lose has no fear of ghosts. He had already lost his reputation, his position, his entire life's purpose. What more could he lose? With a surge of desperate strength, he broke the seal. A gust of cold, metallic-smelling air rushed out from the darkness below, like a breath held for centuries. He descended into the unknown, his flickering torch barely pushing back the oppressive gloom. He had entered the library of whispering ink. The walls were lined not with books, but with thousands of clay jars, and inside them was the ink. It wasn't liquid. It was a swirling, captive shadow, pulsing with a life of its own. As the torchlight danced across the room, he saw them. The ink-stained ghosts. They were the spirits of scholars who had come before him, those who had also sought a truth beyond the mundane world and been consumed by it. They didn't attack. They simply drifted through the air, their ethereal fingers eternally tracing invisible characters, lost in a silent, unending lecture. In the exact center of the vast, circular room sat a stone plinth. Upon it rested the Star-Reader scrolls. The parchment itself was unlike anything he had ever seen, crafted from the skin of some creature not born of earth. It was weathered by time, yet it pulsed with a faint, violet rhythm, as if a slow, alien heart beat within it. Ji-hoon's hands trembled as he reached out and opened the first scroll. The characters on the page were maddening. They didn't sit still. They writhed and squirmed like centipedes made of pure darkness. To a normal mind, this would be unintelligible, terrifying gibberish. But to Ji-hoon, the man who had dedicated his life to studying the subtle alignment of the stars and the hidden resonance of the earth, it was a symphony. He began to read aloud. His voice, once thin and shaky from malnourishment and doubt, grew impossibly resonant, filling the cavernous library. As he spoke the forbidden glyphs, the ink on the pages began to lift, peeling itself from the parchment and crawling up his arms like living tattoos of starlight and shadow. The wandering ghosts stopped their silent study. They turned as one, and their hollow eyes, once empty voids, began to glow with a reflected celestial fire. The entire library began to groan, the very stones vibrating with an impossible energy. Space itself started to warp and bend around him. Ji-hoon felt every moment of his failure burning away. Every insult he had endured, every night he had spent shivering and hungry, every condescending sneer, it all became fuel for the furnace now roaring to life in his soul. He wasn't just reading magic. He was fundamentally rewriting his own existence. "The stars do not look down on us," Ji-hoon whispered, his voice now a low hum that seemed to come from everywhere at once. His eyes, once dull with despair, now shimmered with the deep, terrifying beauty of a nebula. "They look through us." With a sudden, explosive burst of power, he felt the gravity of the room shift. Ancient books and scrolls lifted off their shelves, floating in the air around him. The ink-stained ghosts bowed their heads in silent reverence. He reached out a hand and touched the empty air. The space before him cracked like glass, revealing a dizzying glimpse into the void between worlds. He had become a conduit, a living bridge between his world and the cosmos. He could reach into the heavens and pull their cold, crushing weight into the palm of his hand. The next morning, a buzz of excitement and confusion filled the Royal Academy. Scholars gathered in the courtyard, animatedly discussing a strange celestial event from the night before stars that had appeared to fall and then returned to their place. But all the gossip and debate came to an abrupt halt. The great gates of the academy, reinforced with iron and timber, burst open as if kicked by a giant. Ji-hoon walked, and he didn't look like the broken, pathetic man they had expelled less than a day ago. He now wore robes of shifting shadow, woven from the darkness between stars, and the ground beneath his feet seemed to ripple with every step he took. When the High Scholar, the very man who had cast him out, stood to protest his intrusion, Ji-hoon simply waved a hand. The air in the grand hall turned thick and viscous, transforming into liquid ink that froze the scholars in place, their mouths open in silent peril. "I have found the truth you were too afraid to seek," Ji-hoon said, and his voice echoed not from his lips, but from a dozen places at once, a chorus of cosmic power. "The universe is not a book to be read. It is a scroll to be written." He raised a hand, his fingers now tipped with starlight. "And I hold the brush." He was no longer Ji-hoon, the disgraced scholar. He was the architect of the void. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.